Hey everyone, it's Janet here. This video is all about recapping the Outer Limits, some of my favorite looks from the Outer Limits day party in San Francisco. So the Outer Limits party had more like groovy house disco, funky kind of sound. So a lot of the things that I saw were very much on par with that kind of aesthetic. There are a lot of people who were black. I wore black because it was easy and I didn't want to think about like putting together something really colorful. I wasn't feeling in a colorful mood or a funky mood. So I wore my black bodysuit and my black ripped jeans and my members only jacket to feel like I'm still in that funky, cool kind of mode, but not in the same color scheme. But I'm going to recap some of my favorites and what I thought they tell you about the person and the styles that they wore. So one of my favorites is one of the things that really caught my eye at the party was a lot of band and a lot of like cool merch. A lot of people love wearing like their favorite DJ or favorite DJ party, record label party looks, or fits rather. I wanted to give like a huge shout out to this guy, Chris Ledet. He is part of the Groovy Collective in San Francisco, and he had this really awesome t-shirt from a movie called They Live. And actually I wasn't really familiar with it. He said it's from the 90s. But I thought it was a great way to communicate this groovy, fun, happy, trippy kind of vibe that he was playing at the party. And so that was one of my favorites. I also thought my buddy Tucker, we met at the bar when he was DJing with some friends, and he had this really cool bomber jacket. It was white. I've never seen like a white bomber jacket with this kind of Italian Baroque kind of print. And he wore these like gold fringe earrings, and I thought that really completed the whole look. Also, I really like the black and gold aesthetic from the DJ Brunch Life. He had this gold bomber jacket with black pants and these gold high top sneakers. And what was really interesting was these weren't just black jeans, but these were black jeans with a little bit of like gold studding at the hem at the end of the pants. So it really went with the whole like disco 70s sound that he was playing. So I thought that was really smart. It's really smart as a performer or someone in the spotlight to really think about your aesthetic. And I've said this before. When you're a performer or someone in the spotlight or going to an event, whether you are the person speaking or performing or at the headlining, or you're just an attendee, it really helps to think about what you want to convey with your style when you go out. And so I thought he really communicated a great sort of funky, groovy, housey, disco kind of aesthetic with the sound and his look. It really felt like he was in the vibe. I also really loved this super cool Rugrats Nickelodeon members only jacket this guy who was visiting from Sacramento had. He picked it up at a store at the mall, he said, but it was really fun. The other look that I really liked was, I forgot his name, but he runs the Blast app in San Francisco, I think. And he had this really cool, funky, colorful leopard print shirt. And I thought that was just such a great way to tell you who he was and be in the moment, because it was very funky and very groovy and he was totally feeling it. And the best part of his look, I felt, was the bracelet, the jewelry. He had this like coral colored chunky necklace type, but it was his bracelet that really caught my eye. And those beaded candy bracelets he said that someone gave him. And it says, know your worth. And I thought that was beautiful because he said he's involved in the startup and it's building, but he knows that he's putting out great content and he's sharing a lot of good stuff and educating people about what's going on. And that's why he wore it. And I just thought it was a really cool piece, jewelry with his look. And I really liked this DJ's, he was one of the openers, I missed his set, but he had this cool yellow and black bomber and it says Wasp Synth Club making electronic dreams. I'm actually not sure where he got it from, but I just thought it was very funky and groovy and fun and very disco housey kind of vibe, which totally fits his kind of aesthetic because he's been putting on Italian disco party nights here in San Francisco, just started recently, and it just fits his way of being groovy and funky at the same time. The other look that I really liked was my friend Tony. So my friend Tony is also a producer, DJ, artist, and just incredibly talented person. He had this cool Carhartt hooded jacket, and he wore the In-N-Out Burger t-shirt with it. But it was the jewelry, and men don't wear jewelry a lot, and so that's why I'm really drawn to the jewelry. And I really liked that it was this, like, I don't know what kind of stone it was, but it looked like this kind of jade stone with a copper coil around it. And then in addition, there was a ring right side up attached to it. And so it was very earthy and very natural. But the chain, he paired it with this really kind of grungy kind of chain. So I thought it was just an interesting way to pair something that's very earthy with something very grungy, and yeah, earthy and grungy at the same time. The other and the very last look, oh, actually two more looks that I really liked, was this guy named Jake. I think his name is Jake. We actually met last year at the Dead Mouse concert outside Bill Graham Civic Auditorium. And I really loved his shirt because he wore the same shirt last year. But last year when he wore it with a fuzzy green jacket and snakeskin print pants. And today he just wore, at the festival, he just wore it with a black bomber jacket. And it was just simple, very like less flashy. I think also just because it was a Sunday and it was an outdoor party, he chose to be much more stripped down. And so I love that. And so I think I said two more, but I had another one. I really like streetwear, like, you know, really cool merch because it tells you a little bit about the brand's ethos and what's interesting and grabs your attention, helps you tell a really cool story. And this guy had a really cool hoodie. It says Brain Dead. I said it's a local Bay Area brand. And it's weird, kind of funky. It says Earth Tour and it says Brain Dead. But that was a really cool piece of merch I saw that night towards the end of the evening. And the very last one, my favorite, I keep saying my favorite, but all of these are my favorites. I'm lately been more drawn to like menswear, but I've been doing a lot of menswear styling with individual clients. So I've been really interested in seeing how like hearing from my individual clients what they want to explore or what they want to change in their style. And I like that this guy kept it simple. Like he was just wearing a hoodie and some jeans and some sneakers. But it was the hat that really carried the entire vibe of the evening of the event. His hat said, out of office. And yeah, he's out of office for the weekend. Everyone's President's Day weekend. That's what the motto was, out of office and have fun at the party. So these were my favorite looks, and I'd love to hear from you which ones you like the most. I know they're mostly men's styles, but these were my favorites, and I really enjoyed them, and I hope you did too. And I'll talk to you soon.